You might really want to get into investing, you're dreaming of financial independence, but you're looking at that £20,000 stocks and shares ISA and you're thinking, how am I going to do that? I think despite your current financial situation, saving and investing is possible for anybody. If you've got no idea where to start or how to make some extra money, don't worry. Today, I'm going to share with you what I think are the best side hustles to make an extra £200 a month so you can start investing. And the idea behind this, if I was starting today with zero, what would I do? And these are the methods I would follow. You might think, well, why £200? Well, £200 is a really realistic target and a great starting point. £200 invested each month at the annual rate of 7% is this much. Just pause that if you want to take in the awesomeness of compound interest. And just remember, £200 is just the start. With each of these methods, I know somebody making a full-time income just from doing these. So each of these methods you're able to do with very little skill, or if you're willing to put in some time into learning, the last one is actually the best. So that's well worth doing if you're willing to put in the effort. Before we dive in, let me just say, why listen to me? Because if I was in your position as a viewer, it would be the first thing on my mind. There's plenty of people giving plenty of advice that haven't really done it and haven't made money. So quickly, about me, I've had online businesses for the past 16 years. I've made over 500,000. Now I know this isn't that crazy figure that some people promise, but it's a really good, reliable income I have managed to generate all off my own back. And these methods have really helped me a lot. I've also helped hundreds of clients through my online web design business, and I've seen behind the scenes of how some of the most profitable businesses make money online. I'm not promising miracles, but I know a couple of people making well over 20 and 30,000 a year, and they may be working 1 or 2 days a week on these side hustles. So just think, if you put in the time and did this in your spare time, maybe a couple of hours a day, you could generate an income that would fill your stocks and shares ISA by doing very little effort. So with that out of the way, and you know I've actually done some of these and I've got the experience, let's dive into method number 1, and that is experiences. Now the first thing I would think about is creating some kind of experience. Experiences have become a growing trend lately, and more people have been looking for more things to do in their backyard. They're taking staycations and they're looking for new and interesting things to do, and also experiences that they might not have tried before. And if you're able to provide that experience, you're able to package it up and sell it to multiple people. Now this breaks down into what I would class as 2 types of service. Now the first type of service I'm going to call a deliverable. So you might remember there was that huge trend where everybody could hire a hot tub for their back garden, which by the way I think is still a great idea. But there's now also this growing trend for things like parties that can be set up at people's houses. There's things like igloos and teepees. People will come around to your house, they'll set it up, and you can have things like a poker night for the guys, a girls' night, and even a dining experience with a partner with local chefs. But there's also much more basic things, like you can set up a kid's sleepover where you go around, set that up for the parents, and they pay for that service. And the growing trend in America at the moment, which will be coming over here, is kind of these premium picnics. And what do I mean by that? Well, essentially you pay for a picnic, it's already made for you, you pick it up, take it to the park. Now this is a kind of experience that maybe you couldn't create yourself, and it's really great food and a great time. So think about if that's something you could create. Now if you don't have the money to do that, the second option might be easier for you, and that is to provide a service. Now you can do this on your own back or possibly through sites like Airbnb. Now you can provide things like a walking, running, or even cycling tour. Maybe you can do a food tour or a history tour, but just provide a tour of the area. And just imagine if you're charging maybe £15 a ticket and you've got maybe 10 people on the tour, you can soon rack up a really nice profit with really low startup costs. Think about, is there something in your area you really know and you could turn it into a really great business? Now let's talk about who this is best for. So the deliverables is best if you enjoy providing an experience. So if you're really good with attention to detail and creating something magical, then this could be a great business for you. And you can work on how you can optimize and improve the process each time, getting feedback from your customers. It's also better for somebody who's got some startup capital. I don't think you're going to need an awful lot of money, maybe a couple of £100 depending on which option you go for. Obviously something like an igloo is going to be much more expensive than a picnic. The service option is going to be best for people who are quite confident. So you really need to be a people person and enjoy interacting with people. If you don't and you want to improve those skills, maybe it's something you can do to better your confidence. It's also going to be better with people with a skill or some kind of knowledge of the area. If you know something like history or a language, or maybe you're just good at cycling or running, it's going to be much easier. But of course, you could just do something like a walking tour. I've been on one of these and you can just learn the facts and basically you're just repeating it to customer after customer. So even if you don't know the knowledge, you can soon learn it. And the great thing about this option is it does have really low startup costs. I mean, what do you really need to do a walking tour? So the second option I would go for is I would look at flipping furniture. You're going to find furniture on places like Facebook Marketplace, maybe even for free, or you're going to pop down to the charity shop, look for some really great items, and you're going to upcycle them and sell them back at a profit. And to get started, I would try and buy 2 items a month and try and make £100 profit on each one. Now this one obviously might be a bit harder to scale, but it's something that could be really enjoyable, and it's something that I would really like to have a go at, even if it's only for a couple of items. And there are some fantastic channels on YouTube which show the whole process, how they do it and how they make a profit. So you can basically just take all of that knowledge for free, apply it to a business and make your profit. Now this is going to be best for people who enjoy crafts and bringing things back to life, which I think is a really great project and nice thing to do. It's also going to be good for people who can negotiate and haggle prices, because obviously the more you can haggle and negotiate, not saying you should haggle with charity shops, but if you can do it with other sellers, then you can make more profit that way. So this one is going to have low to medium startup costs. You could start with even free items and then build it up to ones that maybe cost you £100 to buy. And as your knowledge grows, I'm sure you're going to be able to ask for more money and do the process a whole lot quicker. The next method I would look at is definitely matched betting. Now this is a personal favourite of mine, in which I made over £6,000. Now for those of you who worry and think I don't like betting, it's not actually betting. Let me break it down really simply. You're betting on the outcome of a football game, you're betting that team A is going to win and team B is going to win. Now when you put these 2 bets on, one's going to win and one's going to lose. Well, hopefully they're going to cancel each other out and you're going to lose maybe about 50 pence. But at the same time, you've got a £10 or £20 free bet for placing the bet in the first place. So that equates to your profit. You then bet again with your free bet and then you cash it out as profit. It's actually far easier than it sounds, and you haven't got to have that knowledge of football or betting. I didn't have any, I don't watch sports, and I managed to do it really easily. I used a site called Profit Accumulator for that. I'll leave a link down below because it made the whole process so much easier. And when you first sign up, you can go through all of their welcome offers, which are really easily, and you can make some really easy money. So even if you do it for a month, the first month is really easy. Now this one is best for people who don't have a skill. There's no skill involved. You're literally going onto a website and pressing A, B and C. Place bet here, place bet there, done. So it's really great for people who just like to follow instructions. And it's also really good for people who like to streamline the process and make the whole thing much quicker. For example, using something that autofills your data makes signing up and placing bets much quicker. The other main benefit on this one is your earnings are completely tax-free because it's classed as gambling, even though you're not really gambling. So that one I'd recommend anyone to have a go at, even if it's just for a month at one point or another. The next option, which I've done before, is selling books on Amazon. Now this one's really easy. A lot of people don't know about it, but those that do make a really nice profit. So all you're essentially doing is you're going to download the Amazon Seller app, and that gives you an app which you can use and you can scan products and see how much it's selling for on Amazon. So what you're going to do is go into charity shops, you're going to scan the books. So you've got a load of books which are maybe a 50p or a pound. You're going to scan them, see how much they're selling for on Amazon used, because obviously they're not new. Even used, some books sell for 10 or 15 pounds when you bought them for £1. And there's no VAT on books, so it keeps it much more profitable. You can extend this to other items, which makes a fantastic income, but this one is really easy. So I've done this. I'd go into a charity shop, scan. I come out with about 10 books, whack them on Amazon, and I literally made £100 within an hour. I think I did get a bit lucky in that case, but you can definitely do it. Spend a few hours, scan the shops, maybe just go once a month, collect the latest books that have gone in, and of course you can do this at things like a car boot as well. Do that, stick them on Amazon and go back the next month. Now this is best for people who like to hunt for a bargain. You're hunting for them hidden treasures that are worth a lot of money. It's great for people with no skill because really all it involves going into a shop, scanning a book, sending it off to Amazon and they sell it for you. And if you get one with a good sales rank, which means it's selling a lot, it sells really quickly. And this one has quite low startup costs. You are going to need the app, which does equate to £25 per month, so that's £30. And if you started with £50, you spent £30 on the app, maybe £20 to buy books, so really £50 startup cost is really cheap. That's a really fun option to do. The next couple of options kind of tie into my business and are a bit techie, but I think they're really easy to understand. So the next option is going to be social media marketing. Well, believe it or not, businesses typically pay about £300 a month for someone to manage their social media. Essentially, they will post on their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and do all that for them. Businesses are too busy or they just don't do it because it's an effort and it's hard to get into that routine of posting and maintaining these social media accounts. So you could offer that at a discount maybe just £200 a month, and you'd only need one client. And all you're going to be doing is creating content and posting it on their social media. And once you've got one and you specialize, you can approach other people and say, look, this is what I've done for them. Can I do the same thing for you? So for example, you could maybe do this for an artisan local bakery or coffee house, do it for one and then go to the next area and try and find another client that you can do the same thing for. I think what would be a huge benefit and really upgrade this service, which you could maybe charge more money for, is agree that you would come in one day a week or one day a month and capture photos of their content, maybe get some stories from them about the business and quotes, stats and things they might want to mention. Maybe talk to some customers, record some testimonials and talk about their experience in the shop and why they love it. People don't really do that, they just do it from home, but I think you could really step it up and do something quite unique. And what's great is the whole process can really be quite automated. And once you've got that content, you can sit down, schedule a post up, and then it's all done. You maybe spend one day that kind of provides the content for the next month. Then all you've got to do is check in, maybe answer some comments, and maybe provide a report once a month to let the clients know how it's going. And there's plenty of customers who do need this service. I'm sure if you just Googled now, you could find local businesses to you that are doing a really bad job of their social media and give them that option. Now this is good for people who are socially savvy, so you're able to use all of these apps. And even if you're not, it's not that hard to learn. That's why a lot of people jumped into the market of social media when it first came out, because it was relatively easy to do. There are zero startup costs because you can essentially just use all of the free tools built into Facebook and Twitter, etc. Now I think a perk of this one is you could easily turn it into a full-time business. You're only going to need maybe 10 or 20 clients, and that's literally your whole business done, and you can be making really good money. So for that £200, you literally need one client. Now let's move on to the last one, which is perhaps the most profitable of all, and the one I've seen people make a lot of money with. I know a couple of people making at least $30,000 a year. So let's say, for example, you've got a website. On that website, you've got 12 slots for advertising, and you're going to sell them at £200 a piece. Now, once you've got that and you've got them 12 slots filled, that's essentially your £200 a month for the whole year. Now, you might think, why are people going to pay to advertise on my website? Well, you can make a really great niche website. So for example, if you looked at your local area and you maybe looked at something like home renovation, you could look at maybe 12 providers in a local area and add them to the website, one for each service. And then you can promote that website on things like social media, and then you could add some articles to that website about the local area so it comes up in the search engines. And if you're doing it for a really niche term like local handyman or local home renovation, it's going to be quite easy to come up in the search engines. And you'd add some articles to the website, which would also help increase the rank, and you could share these on social media. And people would keep paying for that slot because they think, well, I don't want this to be replaced by another provider in the area. So just imagine if you took that concept and applied that to 5 or 6 areas, each site making you £200 a month. The classic format of this would be a directory where it covers the whole of the UK, and people can pay for a listing in your directory, which, believe it or not, some people might think that's quite old-fashioned, but it still works really, really well. And I've got clients that are maybe adding 5 or 6 people to the directory each and every week. This is going to be best for people who are willing to put in some work, so you've got to learn the basic concepts of how a website works and how to create it, which these days can be a lot easier than you think. Obviously, you don't need to make something super complex like I would make, but you can make a really simple version. It's also going to be good for people who can sell. If you're not put in the effort and learn how to sell, it doesn't take a lot. You've just got to talk to people and show them what you're offering. It also works quite well if you've got an interest in a particular area. So if there's some niche that you really know about, you can create a site all around that niche. For example, I know somebody interested in horses. They're creating one all about horses and getting horse providers like your vets, transport, etc., and building a directory around that. So all of these options are super viable, real ways to make money. Yes, they're not an overnight success story. You're not going to make millions overnight, but if you want to make some extra money, they're really reliable and they do work. You could use any of these businesses to help fill your ISA, because I know plenty of people doing it. So don't be put off if you don't know where to start. Go for one of these, give it a try. If it doesn't work, don't worry. Over time, I've probably tried at least 15 or 20 different side hustles, so you just have to keep trying until you find one you like and one that works for you. So I hope that was useful. If it was, please drop that like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. 'Cause I just wanna see the light.